Community Hotline is made possible with generous support by Gresham Ford, the dealer with a heart. The Contribute to the Community program provides the opportunity for the Gresham Ford team to make a positive impact, serving their customers and helping people across the community. The Outlook, serving the residents of East Multnomah County for more than 100 years. The region's #1 source for information, The Outlook provides readers with intensely local coverage of the issues and people that impact our lives and community. The Mount Hood Cable Regulatory Commission, advocating on behalf of the public interest on communications policy issues at the local, state, and federal levels.
And by Stamp Connection and BeFit Gyms. A very special thanks to all the sponsors who help make our programming possible.
Hi, I'm Monica Weitzel, the host of Community Hotline. Every week we share information about local citizens making a difference through their work in nonprofits, schools, and government. Tonight's show has a little bit of everything. Our first guest is from a place known as the Ant Farm. This organization provides life-changing experiences for youth in Sandy, Oregon, with a goal of developing healthy, purposeful, compassionate community members. Then we'll visit with the East Metro Economic Alliance. If you live, work, or play in the East Metro area, you may already have benefited from the work of this alliance. And finally, we'll chat with the Gresham Barlow School District about their new program, Pathways to Career Success. Whether you live in the district or not, you should hear how our schools are working to expose students to a world of career possibilities. There's a lot of important work taking place right here where you live. Stay with us to learn more on tonight's episode of Community Hotline, coming up next. Hi, and welcome to Community Hotline. I'm Monica Weitzel, and we are here in Gresham at MetroEast Community Media. I'm glad you joined us tonight. We have a full show, and we're going to start out talking with the Ant Farm from Sandy, Oregon. And here to represent it, we have the Executive Director, Two Foxes Singing, more commonly known as Nimpa. It's great to have you here, Nimpa.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Thanks. You know, the show tonight really focuses a lot on East County and the good things that are going on in East County. And as I mentioned to you earlier, I've heard about Ant Farm for a long time because you have a really good reputation in the community. Can you tell me a little bit about what your mission is and the history of why it got started?
So basically, I'm a licensed occupational therapist, and I was working in Portland, but I live up on the mountain. And so I would drive through the town of Sandy, and I would see kids on the street, and I would think, what's happening for them? And always working in mental health and addictions.
Okay.
So as the mental health system in Multnomah County collapsed and things went really rough, I kind of pulled back to home and said, we need to do something for those kids.
And how long ago was that?
2010.
Okay, well, we're going to be hitting 10 years pretty soon.
Yeah, really close.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So what did you do? What was the first thing you did?
We saw a 3,700 square foot building that was empty, and started thinking about, we got a stimulus grant actually, a stimulus grant, and we went in there with 10 youth that could not work. Okay. And we gutted the building, and we had 6 weeks of an amazing project of clearing the whole building out, thinking that it might only last for the summer. And,
wow.
not knowing,
Yeah,
really not knowing. We had
yeah.
no money. And then we had just such a powerful summer, and the kids loved it. And we planted a little garden in the back, kiwis, and we just did all this.
Yeah.
And the town kind of took notice, and just one thing led to the next.
Wow. So starting with 10 kids who couldn't work.
Yes,
For whatever those reasons were. And so they were working there.
They worked well.
Yeah. Well, and you probably gave them some trust. You trusted them and you gave them responsibility and maybe things that they hadn't had a lot of.
Absolutely.
I'm guessing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. When some of them too, they really had anger. They had. We just saw everything, and so I gave those folks sledgehammers and said, "Knock down the wall."
What better way to get rid of your frustration and your anger?
And then now that 3,700 square feet is the tutoring center, our cultural arts center. It's a cafe and bakery.
Yeah, you have all sorts of stuff going on out
we
there.
do, yeah.
I think there was like 9 programs you
Absolutely.
have going on there.
Yeah.
So how did this expand so fast? I mean, there's a lot going on out there.
There is a lot. Well, it's really about community need. So this was created with really the dream of helping young people, like when you talk about mission, just like find their purpose, find their goal. And so we don't actually charge youth or families anything.
Wow.
And we don't really have a referral source, but the door is always open. And so the 9 programs emerged out of interest and need.
Okay. So what is the mission itself then?
So we believe, our vision is really that everyone in the world can live with purpose and can live with health. Like, we believe that. And then the mission is to really say we're going to provide opportunities and always connect them to the community.
Okay.
So we always connect it to the community so that the community benefits, the young people benefit, and really everyone benefits.
There's nothing worse than hearing people complain about all these kids that are just hanging around with nothing to do, but they haven't provided anything or thought about how they could help to take care of that. And so you're doing that. You're giving giving them an opportunity. So it really sounds like the community has to be involved for this to work.
Yeah, and the community's great. I think for a lot of folks in Sandy, they were like, ant farm? What is this thing?
Yeah, and that was my first question is, ant farm, that's an interesting name.
Yeah.
But it's about ants and their work ethic and that kind of thing,
yeah,
right?
their
And
community, they work together, they lift,
yeah.
and we have this saying, the might of one, the power of many. And it's like one person has an amazing amount of might, and we got to provide that support for that individual to find it. But then the power of many is like when all of those individuals come together, we can do anything.
Right.
And and our Sandy and our area up the mountain, we're proving it.
Well, it's a beautiful area up there too.
It is.
So it's a
It's
really
great.
nice area.
Yeah.
So the kids that you serve, are they just local, or where do they come from?
Really, anybody could walk in the door, and yet we draw a lot of just local Sandy youth, a lot of youth that are up the mountain. Several kids are coming over from Estacada.
Okay.
But that's kind of it, because but anybody that walks in, they're going to get helped by us. So.
Yeah, well, you're not right on the natural path for it's not like downtown Portland where
Not at all,
you
yeah.
can hop on the Max and be there.
Right.
So
Right.
you have to make the effort to get there if you're not from
yeah,
there.
absolutely.
So if some kid decides they want to be involved in that, what is their path? What do they need to do to get involved?
We have so many teenagers that come in and they want a job, but they've never worked a bit in their life. But my answer is always okay, we'll give you a job. That's my answer.
So these are not paid jobs. These are
Yeah, they are.
They are paid jobs.
Well,
Okay.
we always start, but really, I feel like we have this really amazing workforce development program, but it's built on service. So yes, we'll give you a job. Hey, do you have a resume? No. Have you ever worked? No. And
which is what happens to a lot of kids when they go try to find a job.
So we had a really amazing community volunteer that just breathed a lot of life into it, an older man and that retired, that he was fully of service. So Ken helped us start what we call Community Connect. Every Saturday we go out and help senior citizens, we help people that need help. That's what we do. And so we always tell young people, show up at Community Connect, show up at the garden.
Yes.
Help us out. And then we get to know them, and then pretty soon they got a paid job.
Cool.
Yeah.
You brought some pictures.
Okay.
I believe that we should take a look at and maybe tell me what are these guys doing?
So this guy is crossing the river on a camping trip this last summer, and they had just an incredible time.
You take advantage of the beautiful setting, the outdoors up there, don't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great. There's another one on that same trip, actually, and it's like we have crawdads.
Crawdads,
So.
love crawdads.
Yeah.
That's cute.
Yeah, we had, and then this one here is actually a picture of Mackenzie, who's in the cafe and bakery. She's our baker. And we bake all our homemade bread. We bake all our own pastries, and we have interns. We have young people that come through and work with our bakers, our baristas, so they can always learn. And then we've
kind of a culinary program of sorts.
Of sorts, yeah.
And then they work in the cafe then as well?
Yeah, the interns are always working kind of for as a volunteer, but they work in all areas of the cafe and they learn the basics. And yet we're really focusing on a lot of work readiness skills. Like, are you showing up on time?
Right.
Do you have good hygiene? All those kinds of things.
Right. Well, those are some of the soft skills are the things that really make a difference in getting a job and keeping a job.
Keeping a job, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's another shot of the cafe, and we have, of course, I'm wearing the hoodie, and
I like that.
and this is the Cultural Arts Center, and we have local artists bring in paintings and shows, and we do shows every month. We're switching it out for next month. The first Friday, we always have an event where artists show up, and we're trying to now add in a youth component where they teach the youth something.
So if it's a potter, they might teach
them something like that,
or
yeah. And then the community can
whatever.
come. We have a can and bottle program. We collect cans and bottles, as you can see.
I see that, yeah.
And again, it's like, I love Ken. He said, you got to do this. And we have trailers up and down the mountain, and then we sort cans and bottles, and it helps us pay insurance and some of our basic costs.
Oh, great.
I think I said we don't charge kids, but we work really hard.
Yeah, they work hard. They're earning.
Yeah.
They're earning.
We have an elderly gentleman that comes in every single day, and he's got purpose in it, and he gets to be grandpa to some youth, and it's a really good thing. Farmers Market, we have now sponsoring the Mount Hood Farmers Market, and this happens to be the Am Farm Cafe and Bakery booth. So we sell our homemade bread, but we've got 25 vendors there now.
Wow.
So we're really
manage
we manage the whole market, it's ours. And we really like that because we want to create, again, community space.
Right.
So the farmers, the artists, let's get all the community
So you're really
involved.
bringing the community into it. And then
important.
exposing the kids to those jobs and those community members and what it's like to be of service.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, look how cute
these guys are just so cute. We're kind of known for, we plant sunflowers everywhere in the summertime. So you drive through Sandy, you're going to see the lot with the sunflowers, and you'll know where our outdoor building is. There's like a barn structure behind this that is our outdoor building, and that's where our vans and our tools. We have a big youth corps crew that goes up on the mountain and builds trails. So when we talk about getting jobs, there they are, right there.
Perfect. Good timing.
Good timing. So when we talk about getting jobs, like these volunteers, all these young men went through Community Connect at one point, and now they're actually paid employees building trails up on the mountain.
That's so cool.
The Sandy Ridge Trail System, we've basically built that entire system.
Wow.
Yeah.
Some happy faces.
They have a lot of fun up there.
This is awesome. So you have a ton of different programs. What are some of the programs? You have the Community Connect. You have the cafe, bakery. You have the building trails. Is that?
Yeah, that's called Youth Corps.
Youth Corps. That's Youth Corps.
We have the Am Farm Learning Garden. So we have right in town,
garden.
a really beautiful. It's actually not community as much, but we share it with community if people want to be there. We have a big greenhouse there, and so it's just moved to year round. The farmers market. You saw the picture of the crawdads, the outdoor adventure. A lot of tutoring. We help with tutoring, and young people need GED work. So it's kind of wide open.
So when kids go through the programs and they become involved and they do service work or they're working, are you able to write them referrals or for jobs?
All the time.
Okay.
Resumes.
Yeah, because now they have work experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So last summer we had 67, actually plus 10, 77 plus 4, 81 youth that 50 of them started as interns, and by the end of the summer, every one of them was employed by us.
Wow, that's
So
awesome.
we had,
That's great.
80, and we have 81 slots this year already set.
All these unemployable kids, right?
Yes, exactly right.
Yes.
It's
You
totally cool.
brought a video. Could you tell me what that's about, and we could take a look at that?
Yeah, so the video that I brought was really, we did a Kickstarter campaign years ago to get kitchen equipment, because all that's very expensive.
Yeah, sure
and a young man, Travis, who I dearly love, came in from his life and his experience. And he worked in the garden, and he worked different places, and then pretty soon he started working on the, I started pointing to the
I was
trails.
gonna say, they'll be up there in a minute. Yeah.
So he started working on the trails, and then he became a lead, and then he became a supervisor, and then he became a manager.
Wow.
And so Travis is just an amazing young man.
We don't have very much time, so let's take a look
All
at
right,
that now.
that's good.
And let's roll it.
Once I stood in the night with my head bowed low in the darkness as black as the sea.
There just really isn't a whole lot for young people to do around here, so it tends to be a lot of them party or go into the woods and smoke pot or drink. You know, I was a good student, played sports, did all that stuff for a while, got caught up in a crowd that liked to do a lot of drugs and sell a lot of drugs, and I stopped going to school, I stopped attending classes.
From here to the great unknown, take my
I immediately could just feel this is right.
Let me stand where no one stands alone.
Well, when I first came, I worked in the garden, volunteering, you know, like seeing that you can do something for somebody else with your hands that makes them happy.
Call my own, but I don't know a thing in this whole wide world that's
I think that a lot of young people just don't know the effect that they have on the world.
hold my hand all the way, every hour, every day. From
You know, this is not a simple thing to be done. They're doing it from nothing. It's all just in their hearts.
home, take my hand and let me stand where no one stands alone.
Powerful stuff. Powerful stuff. So we're just about out of time, Nympha. I'm sure there are people that are watching this who would love to get involved in some way. So if there's a business out there, a nonprofit, an individual, some organization that wants to get involved, do you have volunteer opportunities?
100%.
Okay.
Always open.
Okay, so they can just go to the website, check it out. We'll have that information on the screen.
For sure.
Great. It sounds like it definitely takes a community to make this work, and you've really reached out and been successful. So
thank you.
congratulations on a great job. This is super. Yeah.
Thank you. It's good.
Yeah, you bet. And so do check out their website, find out more about Ant Farm, and stick around. We'll be back in just a few minutes with more of Community Hotline. Thanks.
Community Hotline is made possible with generous support by Gresham Ford, the dealer with a heart. The Contribute to the Community program provides the opportunity for the Gresham Ford team to make a positive impact, serving their customers and helping people across the community. The Outlook, serving the residents of East Multnomah County for more than 100 years. The region's #1 source for information, The Outlook provides readers with intensely local coverage of the issues and people that impact our lives and community. The Mount Hood Cable Regulatory Commission, advocating on behalf of the public interest on communications policy issues at the local, state, and federal levels.
And by Stamp Connection and BeFit Gyms. A very special thanks to all the sponsors who help make our programming possible.
So important for me to have the right to be able to speak what I want to speak and talk about what I want to talk about.
If you start shutting this person up and shutting that person up and shutting this person up, that's not America.
Hi, I'm Benjamin, and this is Angie.
We're with Multnomah ESD Hospital School Program at Unity Center for Behavioral Health.
Every week, Community Hotline introduces you to local nonprofit organizations like ours, working to improve your world. Tune in.
Community television is what participatory democracy is about.
Like my friend Laird Ross says, it's the last great American soapbox.
It gives me a voice.
And I'm glad it's available.
It's incredibly important to protect a place where all users of locally based nonprofit media have a place to speak and share their stories.
Community television is what participatory democracy is about.
Like my friend Laird Ross says, it's the last great American soapbox.
It gives me a voice.
And I'm glad it's available.
It's incredibly important to protect a place where all users of locally based nonprofit media have a place to speak and share their stories.
Hi, and welcome back to Community Hotline. I'm Monica Weitzel. We're here in Gresham at MetroEast Community Media. And now I'm happy to have with me Jarvis Hall, who is the Executive Director of EME, East Metro Economic Alliance.
Yes.
Thanks for being here, Jarvis.
Glad to be here.
Good.
I'm excited to be here. I feel like I'm in the Arsenio Hall studio. So
Except I'm not Arsenio, but
I always wanted to be on that show, so this is the next best thing.
Good enough. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. Well, and you've been busy all day. Tell me what it was you were doing today. You made a
today
presentation.
we're part of the Greater Portland Tech Challenge that Greater Portland Inc. and the Technology Association of Oregon host. And it is an event where communities get to pitch a particular problem that they have in the community that could be solved by technology. And then technology companies kind of bid to see if they can work to help solve those problems. And they play a little matchmaker in the middle after each of the pitches. And then you get to see if there's somebody that you want to work with at the end.
And it worked out okay?
It did.
Yeah.
It did. It's really a great time to network. And once people start hearing the problem that you have to pitch, everybody starts coming with different ideas and ways that you can work together with other agencies. So that's really what it is. It's a great big brainstorming time, and it's good to work with the tech experts on it. So it was fantastic.
You do a lot of things at EME, and maybe you could tell our viewers what your mission is and what it is what the purpose is of your organization.
Well, really, we're an economic development advocacy organization, and we promote economic development within the East Metro region. East Metro consists of the 4 cities in East Multnomah County, Gresham, Fairview, Wood Village, and Troutdale,
Yep.
as well as East Portland, unincorporated areas to the east, such as Corbett, and then some areas of unincorporated North Clackamas County.
Right,
So
okay.
we have a pretty broad area.
Yeah.
We really promote livability and the economic vitality of the region. And we believe that business is the lifeblood that pumps everything in the rest of the region, and that all areas work together. So education is needed, workforce and workforce training is needed, housing is needed, and of course business and industry and entrepreneurship. And all those things work together to really provide the basis for economic vitality for the region.
They do work together. They have to work together,
Yeah.
don't they? You can't really have one without the other.
Yes.
And I know that a lot of, when I see you at a lot of different events where there's a lot of networking going on, where you're making connections, and in fact, just today when you were out in the lobby here, you know, talking with people, other people from the community that are involved with what you're doing, like the Gresham Barlow School District, who will be our next guest tonight. So you really do have your hands in a lot of different pots, it seems like.
I try to. What I see my role personally as executive director is to really, and it's also the role of EME as well, as you see later in the video, is really, we want to help speak for the region when oftentimes our region isn't heard.
Yeah.
So oftentimes resources get sent to either the west side or other counties in the metro region without coming over to East County. And oftentimes it's because we're often connected to Multnomah County, and the west part of Multnomah County is one of the richest, most prosperous areas in the country.
And this area gets forgotten.
Because, you guys don't have any problems. You have all that money over on the west side. And they don't think about there's people out here that need help, that need services, and we need investments in the region so that we're able to be prosperous, just like there's investments in Hillsborough or Beaverton, et cetera. We want those investments, especially from the state and regional partners, to make sure they make their way out to East County.
You've got a video I want to show here in a minute, but what you said, it sounds like a lot of your work kind of overlaps with some of the things local government does and local chambers of commerce. Do you find there's a lot of overlap there?
There definitely is, and they're often members. So when you look at, if you look at our board structure, the only permanent board spots are for our four mayors of our four cities and the chair of Multnomah County. So we are a public-private partnership. We believe in bringing together government, business, and industry. One of my taglines that we have on social media is #connected to electeds, because we are connected to elected officials, and it's important for them to hear from business, for them to hear from education, for them to hear from nonprofits, understand how impacts of legislation affect the region.
And you do have a lot of events that support that. But first, before we talk about that, can we go ahead and watch this video and tell me what it is we're going to be seeing? Is it just kind of an about EME?
Yes, because it's one thing is a lot of people don't always understand what economic development is and what it does, because it's sometimes a lot of the topics, as you see from some of our materials, aren't always the most sexiest of topics. It's not always fun to talk about land use and transportation policies, but those things affect where schools are placed, where businesses are, zoning laws and ordinances. Those things affect how we live. And so we make sure to speak up for that. We make sure to speak up for business, to make sure business is heard, and make sure that people have opportunities to grow economically. And so the video you're going to see is just, I try to take myself out of it as much as possible, but it's really from our members and letting you know why they join EME and why economic development is important to them.
Well, let's take a look at that now.
Let's take a look. The East Metro Economic Alliance, affectionately known as EME, is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to promote economic development in the East Metro region.
East Metro Economic Alliance represents local East Side businesses in regional decision-making bodies. And we think it's important that this side of town gets heard when decisions are made that could impact both the businesses, the jurisdictions, and the people located in East County.
It's the only organization that I know of that really looks at the 4 cities in our region and how these cities can work together to develop a competitive and vibrant community here in East County.
Be heard.
Be heard. Be heard.
Be heard.
Be heard and join EME.
That's great. I recognize some community leaders in those little testimonials
I
there.
definitely didn't want it to be just about me. It's easy to point to the executive director and say he's EME, but no, really EME is our members, and our members are robust from large businesses such as Microchip and ON Semiconductor to I don't like to call them small businesses, but more independent businesses. I'll call them that way. And so we're here in the community.
So tell me something. If I'm an individual with no direct ties to any particular business or government or anything, I'm just a resident, maybe I'm retired, whatever, why would it be important for me to care about this?
It's important to care about this because everything that we work on impacts you in some way.
Okay.
So for some way, somehow you got to the studio. So you got here either because you drove or because you used public transportation, and those roads and the way you got here is important. You live somewhere, so you came from a house.
Yeah.
So the fact that you're able to have housing, and housing is affordable, and there's opportunities in housing at various levels is important. You may have children, or if you don't have children,
or grandchildren.
Or you might have children, grandchildren. Education is important, but also you want people to be educated, so they're less likely to come and affect your livability by coming in and taking whatever things that you do have.
Right. So we want somebody to have the education and then get the jobs.
Yes.
So that,
and if jobs aren't there, then there's nowhere for people to go from the education piece. Right. And so
it's all tied
it all
in.
works together. And everybody has a role to play because everything affects them.
Yeah, well, that's a good explanation. You have several events coming up, and I think you have some pictures from some of those events. Maybe we can play those while you're telling me about them. You have an economic prosperity forum coming up in May.
We're very excited about this. Last year was the first year we did it. We really asked the community to think about some of our biggest challenges, and it started from one of our mayors asked. This was during the time that Amazon was looking for HQ2, and they were like, well, what happened if they chose our community? Would we be ready for it? Would the schools be ready for an influx of
Right. Would we have
people?
enough housing?
Do we have enough housing?
Yeah.
Would the roads be ready for it? How would congestion look like?
Because that affects
everything.
A lot.
Even if we were to attract some of these businesses, which we are, like we did with Element 6 over in the Gresham Vista property, and of course Amazon and FedEx, things like that, we're attracting more business, but we're like, okay, as we go to phase 2 of the Trip property and things like that, are we ready for all these things to come in?
You have to look at all those.
So some of these videos are there. This is actually from this here is from some work we did with some students at Warner Pacific University. They came and we did a pitch fest there with them to really talk about spurring entrepreneurship in East County, and this is what we're going to bring to our first startup event, which is Startup East Metro, which is coming in August. Cool. We're excited for that event to be able to do a pitch fest Shark Tank style event.
Oh, fun.
So we're really pumped up for that.
That'll be exciting.
It's a very interactive event. You'll definitely hear more about that. This is a picture from our first East Metro Economic Prosperity Forum. We invited over 75 community leaders to come and talk about some of the biggest areas of weakness in our region and how we can work together to help solve some of the problems. And the event that I told you about where I was pitching at with Greater Portland Inc., the number one idea that came from that was one of the ideas that I pitched, which was to work on a transportation hub centered at Mount Hood Community College. So we're excited to see what can happen from that project and trying to connect communities, in particular the work centers, with the education centers, and eventually to the housing centers. So
wonderful.
We're really looking at how to make mobility and connectivity within the region become a priority. So we're excited to see that. And this is from one of our membership meetings. We have these usually on the second Thursday of every month at Fairview City Hall.
We have a few of those myself.
Yes, they're fantastic.
Yeah, they are.
You can always go on our website, eastmetro.org/events to see what we have going on. Our next one is coming up in March, so we're excited about that. And
great.
We're pumped up. So the forum we're excited about. It's our second annual. It was very in high demand, so tickets go on sale next week.
You can find all that information and probably register on the website.
You can find it online and do that.
That's great.
There's a lot of information about that, and really talks about how the focus areas of the region, looking at workforce, housing choices, land use and transportation, as well as education and workforce, how those all interact, how they all link, and how we can find ways to work together to move our region forward.
I'm curious how you got involved with this. I mean, because you're the first executive director.
Second. Well, technically, Travis Stovall was the first executive director.
That's right. I didn't know that.
There were, he moved on, and he's working on his business, E-Rep.
Right.
And doing very, very well with that. There were a couple in between him and I, and then so I'm the second longest tenured executive director behind Travis.
Yeah. So how long has East Metro Economic Alliance been?
We just celebrated 15 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's
It's been
great.
around that long. Yeah, we started in 2003. So in November we had a Toast to EME event where we celebrated 15 years of economic development. So one thing is excited to be here on this show just to tell more people about it and what we have going on. We do, like I said, we do a lot of the stuff that is behind the scenes.
Right, but important stuff.
Yeah, it's very important stuff.
So we have like a minute left, Jarvis. So tell me, what's the most important thing you want people to take away from this conversation?
I think what I want people to take away the most is that economic development is important. Encouraging business and business development, business retention and expansion is important and pays dividends throughout the community. We have to support our education and workforce. Have to support our community college, so we definitely need to help with supporting Mount Hood. And we're excited for all people and all community groups and all businesses to join our organization and be a part of the conversation. Even if you don't necessarily join formally, we always encourage people to come to our meetings. All our events are open to the public, and we want everyone to have a voice. So like I said in the video,
come check it out.
Be heard.
And,
just come and be heard. Be heard, joining.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for
tonight.
taking the time.
Yes,
I really
it was a
appreciate
pleasure.
having you.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate you having me, is what I mean. So.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
And do check out the website and drop in and see one of the or go to one of the meetings. I've been to several there, and we are members here at MetroEast.
Yes, you are.
But they're wonderful, and MetroEast does tape some of these events, so you can find those also on the website. And don't go away. We'll be right back with our last interview of the evening.
Community Hotline is made possible with generous support by Gresham Ford, the dealer with a heart. The Contribute to the Community program provides the opportunity for the Gresham Ford team to make a positive impact, serving their customers and helping people across the community. The Outlook, serving the residents of East Multnomah County for more than 100 years. The region's #1 source for information, The Outlook provides readers with intensely local coverage of the issues and people that impact our lives and community. The Mount Hood Cable Regulatory Commission, advocating on behalf of the public interest on communications policy issues at the local, state, and federal levels.
And by Stamp Connection and BeFit Gyms. A very special thanks to all the sponsors who help make our programming possible.
The future is accessible. Everything we do today paves the way for tomorrow.
Como medios comunitarios, tenemos una parte importante en una cultura que está constantemente cambiando.
И нам нужно спросить себя, будет ли сообщение средств массовой информации в будущем одновременными и одноменными?
How do we share our collective resources within and between our communities?
Làm thế nào chúng ta có thể sử dụng công nghệ truyền thông chúng ta muốn làm cho tương lai của chúng ta tốt đẹp hơn?
Izazov za nas je da napravimo budućnost dostupnu za sve.
To start the conversation, join us at MetroEast Community Media.
Hi, I'm Multnomah County Commissioner Jessica Vega Peterson. Tune in to Community Hotline Wednesdays at 7 p.m. and you'll find out about local issues and organizations making a positive difference in our community.
Hi, and welcome back to Community Hotline. I'm Monica Weitzel, and we're here in Gresham at MetroEast Community Media. And now we're going to be talking with the Gresham Barlow School District, one of our partners in the community. And to represent the district, we have Carla Gay, who is the Executive Director of Innovation and Partnerships. Thanks for being here, Carla.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
it's great to be here.
Thanks. You know, you have only been with the school district for less than a year, right?
Less than a year, last July. Mm-hmm.
And this position is brand new.
It is.
Yeah. So why did the district decide they need a director of partnerships and innovation, or innovation and partnerships?
Well, our superintendent, Dr. Catrice Pereira, felt that there needed to be someone who could work on some of the systems that can support schools and students and teachers, and really wanted to find ways for partners to interface with the district and support creative opportunities that are already happening in our district, and put them on a new stage, kind of elevate them, give them some, shine a light on them, and bring partners in. Bring partners in to support those creative opportunities. And so they created this position, not knowing exactly where it was headed, but with an understanding that we really needed to leverage more of our relationships with our community. And so I was hired.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, and you know, as you heard in the last two interviews that we did tonight, it's really important that the community be involved in, you know, helping, you know, working with schools and businesses. I mean, that's really the path to success, I think. Which kind of brings me to the program that you're that you've been working on the past Pathways to Career Success.
Correct.
Right. So was this your brainchild, or was
little
it
bit,
kind
yes.
of a group effort? Tell me about that.
I would say that the initial idea was my brainchild. When I was first interviewing for the position, they asked the candidates to propose how they would partner with the community and with the community college to bring innovative opportunities to the district. And I proposed Pathways to Career Success, and actually proposed a series of programs that are preschool to post-secondary. So the real emphasis here and the creative opportunity is that we are recognizing that students need a longer ramp up to understand what their opportunities in life are, and more guidance in finding those opportunities and following their pathways. And so I proposed that we come up with preschool to post-secondary, and we've kind of put a little logo in there, and that we create Pathways to Career Success that encompasses college and expands to all kinds of ways that young people find their path in life to become successful adults, really.
Well, when I was growing up, it was always, you will go to a four-year college after you graduate from high school. And there really wasn't a lot of other options. I mean, there were community colleges, but those were always seen as a stepping stone to, you go there for a couple of years and they're great. I took a lot of extra classes and things, but I did go to the four-year college, and it was just sort of expected. But that hasn't proven to be the solution for everybody. So I think it's great that people are now recognizing that not everybody is going to follow that path, and it doesn't guarantee career success.
Right.
Yeah. So to individualize it a little bit and to be able to give kids options and expose them to other things. So when you talk about preschool, I mean, that's really young.
Yeah.
So how do you expose kids in preschool to career opportunities, and what does that look like?
We're really basing it on a career development theory, which says that you provide opportunities for awareness at the elementary grade school ages, and then as young people progress towards middle school, it's more about exposure and exploration. And then at the high school level is where they start to hone in on preparation, planning, and transition to some other post-secondary training or career opportunity. For preschoolers, obviously you're talking to parents. So what we know is that many young people who already have parents who have a living wage or a higher waged employment and education sort of set that path of college before their children. But many of our young people have parents who are working multiple jobs, who are unemployed or underemployed, and still need to see a vision for themselves. So the way to help develop their vision is to engage their parents and them in all kinds of career nights, exploration activities that ideally would involve employers for the parents, as well as hands-on learning opportunities for the children. Of course, if they're playing with Legos, they may or may not become an engineer.
Right.
However, it's fun and engaging, and what you have is the opportunity to provide career-linked learning, so that child knows that they're doing that, and the adults in that child's life can say, oh, that's what an engineer does.
Right.
And that's, just what you're doing is similar to what the people who are building Gresham High School are doing. And so you get to start to connect what they're doing as something that grown-ups do. It's not a linear path, but it's all about awareness and exposure. And obviously for preschoolers, it's engaging their families as well.
I think that's really important. I remember being in like second grade and having the teacher say, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? And all the girls in the class, because this was a long time ago, would say a teacher, a mother, or a nurse. That was it. I mean, it wasn't a doctor, it was a nurse.
I thought you were going to say ballerina.
Apparently we weren't very good at the dancing yet, but my granddaughter would probably say that. But but I was at a Catholic school, so we also said nun.
Oh,
we won't be a nun.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody really wanted to, but it was, when you're that young, you say what you know, and pretty much that was it back then. And as you get older, you get exposed to other things, but just having those that awareness of other jobs
Right.
is really
Yeah.
great. So when you get to, say, middle school, then I know I was part of the stakeholder launch that you had, and we talked about different ways businesses and nonprofits could get involved, and there were things like as simple as providing tours to kids, you know, of a workplace and showing them what you do. But it could be much more involved than that. Right, with like internships and partnerships and
Correct.
And so it's a big program.
Yes.
That's a big program. So who are some of the community partners that you've been talking with to make this happen?
We're creating. We're in the process of developing it, is what I would like to say. So we've got, we're creating a framework based on 6 major career clusters, preschool to post-secondary, and we are in the process of identifying partners for all 6 career clusters. We have been in touch with, on the healthcare side, with Kaiser Permanente, with Wallace Medical Concern, which is our local provider here. And then on the industry and engineering, we're really focused on construction because we have construction happening on many of our school campuses.
Yeah, that's right there for the kids
so
to
we
see.
are
Yeah.
piloting a program, and I just was at one of our schools today with folks from Fortis Construction. They're the ones building the Gresham High School campus. And they are partnering with a teacher at Powell Valley Elementary and a teacher at Gordon Russell Middle School to create some career-connected opportunities that expose kids, give them opportunities to engage in design thinking. And those opportunities will result in some curriculum and events that can be shared across other schools. And then at Sam Barlow High School, we have Lise Crutcher-Lewis, and they're partnering with our marketing and our Woods teacher and Woods and construction teacher to develop opportunities there. At the end, all those teachers at all those grade levels will come together to create a pathway, and we'll use construction in partnership with Lise Crutcher-Lewis and Fortis as an example.
Wow.
We're working with the city of Gresham very closely on what the pathways into public service and human services might look like. We're still in the beginning stages of thinking about natural resources. And then we've actually talked with folks here at MetroEast Community Media about our arts, communication, and information technology pathways, particularly around video broadcasting and graphic design. So we're really thinking about how that, and there we have many partners, and we're at the stages of developing it right now.
So do you need more partners? If there's people that are in business in the community that would like to be involved with that?
Absolutely. So the 6 major career clusters, anybody in any career who wants to help us with internships, with job shadows, with design, with advising our career technical ed programs on what they should look like so they stay current, with advising some of our instructional practices around post-secondary transition, can contact myself. I would be happy to talk to them about where we can plug them in. We are specifically really thinking about how we prioritize building out some of our programming that is engaging to more of our students in our community.
Yeah, you need to grab their attention and get them excited about it.
Well, and one thing that I will say is that one of the things we're really hopeful, and we talked with Fortis about this, is that while we are hoping that our students have clear career pathways, we're really knowing that all of our students need to develop those transferable skills, those professional skills that set them up for success no matter what industry they go into, whether they're going to be a baker or a construction site manager. They need to have some of those basic communication and problem solving skills. So as educators, we're really aware that those are the skills that we're trying to tee all of our young people up for.
Good. And customer service.
Exactly, and customer service.
That's one of the ones that I think, if you don't have a good customer service attitude and skills, and it doesn't matter what you're doing, if you're connecting, if you're working with people, you need to have that.
Exactly. Yeah. So 21st century skills. And then really helping the students have a plan. So by the time they graduate from high school, or that they've really got a clear next steps and something they can take with them. And ideally, they could go into the workforce directly with some industry recognized credential and that will allow them to have a living wage and either continue in that path or build on that path with other stackable credentials that they can pursue.
That's great, because you want kids to have a career that's satisfying and that's fulfilling, but also has a living wage, because
exactly,
you gotta make ends meet, and
Yep.
if you can do both of those, that's wonderful.
Well, and satisfy the economic development and demands of East Multnomah County.
Yeah.
So workforce development, while we want our young people to have transferable skills, our other goal is that we're creating workforce development opportunities for our young people in
Right.
this community.
We're just about out of time, but I do want to ask about that, because I've heard more and more about how there's all these manufacturing jobs and not enough people to take the jobs, and that our kids are not graduating with the skills they need to enter to fill those job markets. So that's part of it. Then that's your two-pronged effort there.
Exactly. Yeah. We want to support the economic development of this community with the young people who were born and raised and taught here, while we support our young people and their dreams and goals.
Good. Okay, so since we're just about out of time, tell me what else you need from the community to make this work.
We need the community to engage with us and support this effort by coming to the table with whatever they can to help us really grow these pathways, and then commit to helping us see it through to implementation, so that it's not just a big idea, but that it actually grows strong roots here that are sustainable over several years.
Be part of the plan and then be part of the implementation
Exactly.
of it. There you
That's
go.
exactly
okay.
it. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, Carla, so much for coming on to tell us about this. I know MetroEast is really excited to be part of it, so I hope that a lot of other businesses will get on board too.
Me too. Thank you for your
you bet.
time. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having me.
Thanks so much for watching Community Hotline tonight. We had some good stuff going on, and we'll be back here again next week at the same time. I'm Monica Weitzel. Good night.
Community Hotline is made possible with generous support by Gresham Ford, the dealer with a heart. The Contribute to the Community program provides the opportunity for the Gresham Ford team to make a positive impact, serving their customers and helping people across the community. The Outlook, serving the residents of East Multnomah County for more than 100 years. The region's #1 source for information, The Outlook provides readers with intensely local coverage of the issues and people that impact our lives and community. The Mountain Hood Cable Regulatory Commission, advocating on behalf of the public interest on communications policy issues at the local, state, and federal levels.
And by Stamp Connection and BeFit Gyms. A very special thanks to all the sponsors who help make our programming possible.